How you doing, guys? I think by now we've all seen W5 this past week, and thanks to social media, it was not only seen in Canada, but social media brought it to the rest of the world. You know, when I first was watching the protesters this past November, I was curious who the camera crew was, and I guess we found out who they were. That documentary was done so well. I was quite impressed, but I would love to have heard the local needs talks in the Canadian Kingdom halls that week. If you remember a Dateline some years back when Candace Conti came out about her molestation, how quickly the elders in Watchtower were to demonize Dateline and Candace Conti. Matter of fact, I recall hearing some horrible things about this girl and how greedy she was, going after the money, so they thought. But initially all she was asking were policy changes. The courts awarded her the money. She didn't ask for it. And W5 pretty much was doing the same thing. The protesters were asking for policy changes. It's pretty clear that the evil of Watchtower is being exposed. As a matter of fact, that's quite scriptural. Not just Watchtower, but the evils in many organizations are now being exposed. The evils in politics is being exposed, not to mention Hollywood. And you can find that backing in 2 Thessalonians. It was in chapter 2, starting at verse 1. When it says, "Now, brethren, concerning the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and our gathering together with him, we ask you not to be soon shaken in mind or troubled, either by spirit or by word, or by letter, as if from us, as though the day of Christ had come." Can you say 19:14? "Let no one deceive you by any means, for that day will not come unless the falling away comes first, and the man of sin is revealed, the son of perdition." In verse 4 it says, "Who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he sits as God in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God." Now, this was referring to the final Antichrist, but going through the Bible and looking at this world, there's come to be many Antichrists. But back to the protesters that appeared in W5. What is the one thing they were looking for? They're not looking for any cash rewards. They're looking for policy changes. Okay, I'm referring to the two-witness rule. Okay, it's pretty apparent that the two-witness rule is completely misapplied. Okay, as a matter of fact, let's talk about the two-witness rule. And you can find that, just one of them, in 2 Corinthians chapter 13. "By the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word shall be established." Okay, that's true. However, consider this. Even in a court of law, you can't convict somebody on accusations alone. But what do? They weigh the evidence on both sides. You have your examinations, you have your testimonies, then you have your cross-examinations. Then the judge or jury will weigh the evidence on both sides. It's pretty safe to say that judicial hearings are very one-sided. Who is the only one that is cross-examined? And that is the victim. The victims are generally drilled and have been drilled until they feel foolish, feel like the villains, and they back down. And they're basically shamed into keeping silent. Now the perps, the ones who should be cross-examined, all they have to do is say, "I didn't do it," and it's dropped, and it's left in Jehovah's hands. In other words, nothing is done. As a matter of fact, you'll find reference to the two-witness rule also in Deuteronomy in chapter 19, verse 15. However, I believe it's in verse 18, where it says, "And the judges shall make careful inquiry." Okay, now the elders, first of all, are not qualified. They are not trained lawyers. They're not qualified to examine or cross-examine. The legal department at Watchtower. They will favor the organization against the victim, and like I said, the victims are made to be the villains. So that's pretty much a one-sided coin. So now, the two-witness rule, if it was applied scripturally, which Watchtower does not, it may work. However, since it's not applied scripturally and it's totally misapplied, Watchtower needs to change its policies before any more lives are destroyed. Okay? Did anybody listen to these people on W5? Okay? And any of Jehovah's Witnesses that are watching this video, I know some of you have seen it. Okay? You're demonizing these people, and they were the victims. Okay? Let's talk about Trisha Frangina, who appeared first. Her life was totally destroyed. She is only now coming to terms with it and getting her life back together. And I don't need to mention every others, okay? You people have turned these people into demons, and you forget one thing. They were one of you at one time. And even Candace Conti. They believed that what you had was the truth. And had they been treated like humans, they may even still be there. Okay? Now, for those of you still in the organization that are still potential victims, this could happen to you. And how would you feel if you went to your elders, your so-called shepherds, for help, and they did that to you? Well, you don't have a witness? Then you're lying. Okay? They basically tell you that you're lying. And where do your elders get their instruction? No, not from the Bible. They get it from their not-so-secret Elder's Handbook, Shepherding the Flock of God. Okay? You people should actually go through it. Most of that book deals with judicial committees. Okay? That tells you where Watchtower's head is at. If you question, if you're not donating, you're no good to them. They will get rid of you, and they've gotten a lot stronger on that. They're purging, basically, right now. If you're questionable at all, which is why they came after me nearly 2 years ago, because I was somewhat questionable. They didn't know what I knew. And I was never one much to keep quiet, just to keep my place in the congregation, because since I didn't really think it was all that to begin with. But Watchtower, you will totally misapply the two-witness rule. You've destroyed many, many lives. And your exposing isn't finished, okay? Look what's going on in Great Britain now. Your charity status is in question. Look what happened in Australia. They found your child protection very inadequate, as well as every other place in the world right now. Watchtower, you're being watched very closely, as well as many others. The only ones who are in denial is the indoctrinated Jehovah's Witnesses, who honestly believe you're being persecuted. And I get news for you, JWs. You are not being persecuted. This is not the persecution foretold in the Bible. Because they're not after your heads, they're after your asses. Total difference. You may want to look up true Christian persecution, because it is going on in the world right now. Anyways, guys, that's all I wanted to talk about. That was my thoughts on W5. If you haven't seen it, you can find it on YouTube, Facebook. It was done extremely well, and my hat's off to all of yous. I probably am going to watch it again. Anyways, guys, that's all I wanted to talk about. You guys have a good day. I want to thank my subscribers. And if you have any comments to make, feel free to leave a comment below. I will talk to you soon.